Welcome to The Flow, hosted by Bob Martin, slightly edgy glimpses into politics, culture, society, and being human.
They were right. I want to introduce you to some people. A German philosopher who declared God dead. A Buddhist prince who walked away from a throne. A Black Baptist preacher who marched straight into billy clubs. A punk rock musician who couldn't survive his own fame. A teenage girl writing in a hidden room while the world tried to erase her. They had almost nothing in common. Different centuries, different continents, different gods, or no gods at all. Different politics, different hungers, different everything. And yet, every single one of them, across all of that distance, kept arriving at the same essential truths. Not the same religion, not the same politics, the same truths. And that should give us pause. You know, we live in a moment where there's more information than any civilization has ever had. More data, more opinions, more content, more noise. And we are, by so many measures, more confused, more anxious, more cruel to each other, and more estranged from ourselves than we really need to be. So here's what I keep coming back to. Maybe the problem is not that we lack wisdom. Maybe the problem is that we have it, and we've always had it, but we choose not to live by it. So let me give the wise their due. Jesus was right. Religion and God are not the same thing. One is a living relationship with something larger than yourself, and the other is an institution with a budget, a hierarchy, and an interest in its own survival. The history of organized religion is largely the history of those two things in conflict. The mystics always knew this. Buddha was right. Human beings can be liberated from their deepest inner suffering, and not by getting everything they want, but by seeing clearly what they are actually clinging to. Most of our pain is not the thing itself, it's our refusal to let the thing be what it is. Martin Luther King was right. No one is free until we are all free. That's not sentiment, it's structural. A society that keeps some people down has to keep everyone a little afraid to maintain the arrangement. Nobody gets out clean. Mary Wollstonecraft was right. The beginning is always today. She was writing in 1792, telling women they were fully human at a time when the law, the church, and most polite society disagreed. She didn't wait for permission. She just started, and that was her whole lesson. Friedrich Nietzsche was right. Life can be affirmed as beautiful in spite of everything. And he wasn't talking about optimism. He was talking about something harder. The willingness to look at the full weight of existence, the suffering included, and say yes anyway. Most philosophies look away. He didn't. Carl Jung was right. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Most people receive an identity from their family, their culture, their wounds, their fears, and they never question it. Becoming conscious means looking at all of that honestly. Now, it is a slow, uncomfortable work, but it is the only work that lasts. Kurt Cobain was right. Wanting to be someone else is a waste of who you are. He said it while being one of the most famous people on the planet, which tells you something. Fame doesn't solve the problem of being yourself. Nothing outside of you does. Viktor Frankl was right. No one can take away your choice of how to meet what life hands you. And he figured that out in a Nazi concentration camp, watching people choose dignity in conditions designed to destroy it. Man's search for meaning is vital. Anne Frank was right. In spite of everything, people are fundamentally good at heart. She wrote that from a hidden room in the middle of the Holocaust as a teenager. You can spend a lifetime constructing a philosophical argument for human goodness and never come close to the authority of that sentence written in that place at that time. Florence Nightingale was right. Live life when you have it, not someday, not when things settle down, not after the next thing resolves. Right now, with this life, in this body, on this particular day, the window is shorter than we think. And we almost never believe that until it is. The Dalai Lama was right. Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Look at what happens to people raised without them. Look at what happens to societies. Look at what happens to leaders who have intelligence and power, but nothing warming either of them. The evidence is everywhere. Bertrand Russell was right. Question every sacred cow. The things we are most certain about deserve the most scrutiny, not the least. History is a long record of confident people being catastrophically wrong about things they considered obvious. Certainty is not wisdom. Often it is the opposite. John Lennon was right. We can be one if we transcend our tribal obsessions, not by erasing our differences, but deciding that they're not the most important thing about us. Every war in history has been fought by people who were more committed to the tribe than to the human beings standing across from them. Simone de Beauvoir was right. We define ourselves by our becoming. You're not a fixed thing. You're not what you do or what you choose, what you keep choosing day after day. Now, that's terrifying to some people and liberating to others. Sometimes it's both at once. Charles Bukowski was right. If you're going to try, go all the way. A half-hearted attempt is the worst of both worlds. You get the discomfort of trying without the chance of the thing actually working. Commit or don't. The in-between is where dreams go quiet. Ralph Waldo Emerson was right. It's not the length of life, but the depth. A long life spent on the surface of things is not a life well spent. A short life fully inhabited is something else entirely. So we have the metrics all backwards. Seneca was right. Every day should be considered a separate lifetime. We plan, we postpone, we wait for conditions to be right, and then one day we find that the conditions are never going to be right again. Audre Lorde was right. The most effective prisons are the ones we build inside ourselves. We learn early what we're allowed to want, what we're allowed to be, and how much space we're allowed to take up, and then we spend the rest of our lives enforcing those rules on ourselves without anyone making us. The key to the jail cell was in our hand all the time. Fred Rogers was right. When you're at the end of one thing, you're at the beginning of something else. Endings are disorienting, partly because we look at them from the wrong direction. Turn around, and there's almost always a door. Muhammad Ali was right. Impossible is just a big word thrown around as an excuse not to be powerful. He knew the word well. He was told his whole life that it was impossible for a person who looked like him in a country he was born in. He just kept not believing it. Albert Camus was right. We are the meaning makers. The universe hands us nothing pre-assembled, no purpose, no story, no explanation for the suffering. Camus thought that was not the bad news. He thought it was the most liberating fact of human existence. We get to decide what this means. Walt Whitman was right. Our lives become a beautiful poem once we dismiss everything that insults our soul. He meant the compromises, the performance, the slow accumulation of things we do to be accomplished rather than alive. The poem was always there. Most people just never got around to writing it. Thich Nhat Hanh was right. Walking on the earth is a miracle. We spend most of our lives somewhere other than where we are, worrying about tomorrow, replaying yesterday, waiting for things to get better before we actually show up. He spent decades pointing at something almost embarrassingly simple. This moment, this breath, this ground beneath your feet. And you know what? Your deepest inner voice is right. Love is what really matters. Love heals everything, and love is all there is. Beneath the ideology, beneath the status, the fear, the performance, and identity, human beings are ultimately searching for connection, tenderness, and belonging. Every wise person on this list knew it. So do you. They were right. None of them had all the answers. All of them had some of the truth. And what's remarkable when you lay their voices side by side is how much they agreed on the things that actually matter. The inner life, the cost of self-betrayal, the danger of power without conscience, the necessity of love, the urgency of this moment, right now, the quiet devastation of a life half-lived. They weren't speaking only to their time. They were speaking to us. They're speaking to us right now. The wisdom exists. It has always existed. The question was never whether someone figured it out. The question is whether we're willing to live it. I'm Bob Martin, and this is The Flow.